Dodgers have won it all. High fly ball into right field. She is gone. He struck him out. 2 balls and a strike to count on Taylor. Reyes fires, swinging a drive, deep left field. It's his way back. What the ball? Chris Taylor.
What's up, everyone? Welcome into DodgerHeads Live, presented by DodgerBlue.com, part of the Blue Wire Podcast Network. A post-game show last night was so much fun that we decided we'd come back and do it again. Scott Gearman couldn't handle it. He had a mental breakdown. He had to take the night off. So we got Matt Moreno and Blake Williams joining us tonight. Blake, that was fun, huh?
Yeah, it's exactly what you want to see when the Dodgers are playing the Reds. You know, you got one of the top teams in baseball versus a rebuilding team, and it went exactly as planned.
Yeah, exactly. Matt, the Dodgers lose in walk-off fashion for the second time in 2 nights. It's the first time since May of 2021 that happens for them. We've got a Miguel Rojas potential injury. We've got Noah Syndergaard making maybe his last start ever as a Dodger. Maybe there's a phantom injury coming. The offense goes cold for the second half of the game 2 nights in a row. Absolute disaster for the Dodgers. What are your thoughts on what we just witnessed?
Yeah, I mean, sort of like Blake said, it was in some sense it was expected, and I think that's the hard part when you see that Mookie hit his leadoff home run in the first inning, and then Max Muncy hit the RBI single. You're like, okay, they have a lead, but then you remember like Syndergaard is on the mound, and so it sort of feels inevitable that he's going to give up at least a couple runs. And yeah, I mean, I could go a bunch of different ways. I see we have our super chat, so we can stop it there and let's get to this, and we'll circle back to the game.
Yeah. So Jonathan, we appreciate the super chat. The emergency Dodger heads is here. We did have a request, Jonathan. I'm guessing you were the one who sent us a message on Twitter asking, asking about the luxury tax. I'm putting some letters together here. I'm guessing that's you, Jonathan. So throw something in the chat, and we'll get to that one. If it was, somebody was asking us a question based on that. But yeah, I mean, before we get to that, I'll wait to hear from him. Just a bizarre game. I mean, they scored in the last 2 games. They scored 6 runs in the first 3 innings yesterday, or 8 runs in the first 4 innings yesterday and lost. They scored 6 runs in the first 3 innings today, in the first 4 innings and lost. This team, like, for the offense to go as cold, Matt, I think you tweeted they were 0 for 20 after scoring. They were 1 for 17 last night after Freddie Freeman's grand slam. So a 1 for 37 stretch down to close games out is just brutal. But we'll just assume that Jonathan was asking the question. His question to us was, is there any chance? Let's see. I want to make sure I get it right here. Can the Dodgers realistically get under the luxury tax at the deadline? That was the question. I'm not positive Jonathan was the one who asked it. He hasn't sent that, but my answer is no. I mean, I was doing some research on Spot Track to this question about, okay. He said it was a joke. Well, the sad news is they're not going to get under the luxury tax. They're about, according to Spot Track right now, they are about $15.5 million over the luxury tax. And so for them to get under that, you figure whatever the salaries are, it's also prorated. Then you've got bonuses to worry about at the end of the year. So unfortunate there, but let's get to sort of the obvious one. Jonathan mentions this in his next comment. Noah is clearing waivers for sure. You think he accepts an assignment and tries to figure it out with us. This was a poll I put up on Twitter earlier today. I'll look at the results as I ask you. Blake, I'll start with you. My question was, Noah Syndergaard this week, his immediate future is ... DFA, injured list, or makes another start. 3 innings for him tonight, 7 hits, 6 earned runs. Blake, are we getting an IL stint? Are we getting a designated for assignment, or are we tossing him back out there in 5 days because maybe Julio's not ready?
Yeah, from what Dave Roberts was saying after the game, it sounds like it's going to be an IL stint, and they're kind of setting up for that, using his finger injury as their excuse there, which he previously said they were past that and it wasn't an issue anymore. So it seems more like a reset kind of phantom IL stint than anything that's actually a real injury, just kind of guessing it. But in the last time we talked for the Sunday post-game show, I think it was, I said I wouldn't DFA Syndergaard, but I do want to say I've since changed my tune on that. because my reasoning before was they need the depth. They don't really have any pitching depth past that, even when Julio comes back. But it's not really depth if he's giving up 6 runs a game and not keeping you in the game. Like, you could find some minor leaguer to do the same thing. So they're going to IL him and try and figure it out. But I personally think they should try and just move on and figure out what else they have in the minor leagues, because it would probably be a better option for them.
Yeah, and Matt, I know you've got Robert's quotes. Hang on to those for 1 second, because this stat, Fabian Ardaya tweeted this. Noah Syndergaard's ERA through 12 starts is 7.16. Among pitchers in franchise history, it's the 3rd worst start to a season of any Dodgers pitcher ever. Hideo Nomo and Carlos Perez, 2004 and 1999, respectively, edging him out with the 7.26 and 7.25 ERA in that category. So, Matt, I know you have the quotes in front of you of Dave Roberts. I laughed when I heard these the first time, so try to contain yourself, folks. Quote from Dave Roberts.
Yeah, so after Syndergaard's start against the Reds, Dave Roberts was asked, about his ongoing struggles and sort of what's next and what's been going on. And he said, quote, "I know there's things with that blister that he's had to deal with that he certainly doesn't want to make excuses for. I know there was a fingernail break tonight that he's not going to make excuses for, but he understands it's about performance. I think we're going to sit down with him. Obviously, I don't think we can sustain at this pace of performance, so it might be an opportunity to get this finger thing taken care of, a reset," end quote.
Yeah. So the fingernail happened just today, and the blister that he was over and wasn't an issue is now an issue again. I've been calling for a phantom IL stint all along. And I know people in the chat are pointing it out. I still am not positive that just like Robbie Erlin is going to come up and do better than Noah Syndergaard did tonight. I'm not positive. I mean, Ellie De La Cruz hit the ball 1,000,000 miles. I know that, but I don't think it's just like pencil it in. I remind people Gavin Stone was actually worse than Noah Syndergaard in his start so far this year, but mercifully, I cannot imagine he like 0% chance he makes a start for the Dodgers in 5 days, right, Blake?
Yeah, I would bet on him not pitching for a while. I mean,
Matt,
maybe they could call
0%, Matt? Are you, like, is it higher than 0?
No, it's 0%. I think for me, once they committed to having Syndergaard start against the Reds, I sort of felt like that was going to be the end of the road, at least for now. Heading into tonight, because it's one thing, you struggle against the Nationals, who aren't a powerhouse by any means. Then if you follow it up by struggling against the Reds, another team that, to borrow a phrase from Daniel, no disrespect to the Reds, but you are the Reds, that then, they were going to, that's, how can you keep moving on with that? And, Dave Roberts, his comments tonight, like I just read, his quotes about the fingernail, the blister and all that, like it is telegraphing what the IL move is going to be. And for me, I know Blake said he changed his stance on going from, they would IL him to just maybe they need to DFA him. I didn't expect that. I still don't think that will be the case. I just feel like at this point, they're already, knee deep into it with Syndergaard. Like you're not going to necessarily, and they're short on depth. So like put him on the IL, even if it takes a month for him to figure it out, see what you maybe get from him at that point. I think if Dustin May was healthy, if Gavin Stone had pitched better, then maybe they're at the DFA decision right now. But because that's not the case, I think they're just kicking the can down the road, which the Dodgers have historically done anyway.
I think if those two guys were healthy, Syndergaard was DFA'd before this start. Like I just think it was a wrap. I'll say this, Blake, you want a little positive Noah Syndergaard talk in your life? Are you interested in that?
Is that a real thing that exists?
Only 5 hard hit balls against Noah Syndergaard tonight. 3 of them were 95, 97, and 97.2. Blake, he got unlucky.
I mean, that was in 3 innings or whatever he pitched. Not sure that's too impressive, but I do want to throw out as one of their depth pieces, they could have Matt Andriese, just won AAA Pitcher of the Month with OKC. So maybe he can give you some more innings that are better than Noah Syndergaard right now. I still don't think they're going to DFA him, but I just personally would rather see that happen because I'd rather see what else they have.
Yeah, they need to save Andriese. Go ahead, Jeff. You can look it up. They need to save Andriese for later in the season. That way he becomes their postseason weapon. You can't get too much tape on him out there just yet.
Yeah, I'm surprised that he won Pitcher of the Month. He must have been good because his ERA on the season is 4.45. So Let me go look real quick at what he's done of late. 6 innings, 7 hits, 1 earned, 5 1/3, no earned, 5 2/3, 3 earned, 6 no earned, 3 1/3, 1 earned. So I mean, I guess that's a positive. He's kind of got the Michael Grove stat line. Back on April 18th, he had 3 2/3 with 10 earned runs. So that'll hurt. Every other start this season has been 3 earned runs or fewer. So maybe he's a look past the ERA guy. There we go, Matt Andrisi. You like your chances there, Blake? You like this guy to come up and dominate?
I'm not confident in it, but I think he could at least pitch to the level of Syndergaard and potentially better. So it's probably worth a shot if you need an arm. I think Julio is going to fill in the next time, so it's not really an issue right now, but just related to the depth and moving down the line, he could be a potential option to look forward to if they do end up needing someone.
Okay, his last appearance in major leagues was 2021. Split that season with Boston and Seattle. 4.6 career ERA. I mean, heck, if he gave them a 4.6 ERA, if he gave him a 5 ERA, I mean, he'd win pitcher of the month for the Dodgers, I think, if he could do that over the next, handful of starts. So,
and that's the thing too. Sorry, not to cut you off, but I was looking at there's been a lot of talk. There was a lot of talk of, Syndergaard, he was so bad with the Angels and they traded him, they gave up on him, this and that. The other day I went and looked at Syndergaard's stats with the Angels. Yeah, the Dodgers would absolutely kill for that level of production instead of what they've been getting from him. He wasn't awful. He's been awful with the Dodgers, and it's, I think, perplexing because their pitching coaches have worked, their pixie dust or however you want to phrase it on everybody. And for whatever reason, maybe it's the blister / fingernail, it just hasn't taken with Syndergaard at all, right? There's been regression from what we saw last year, which is just so weird.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. The other storyline from tonight is the bullpen. The one guy, Blake, that we thought was good gives up a 2-run homer and the game's over. Are you out on Evan Phillips, Blake? That's the real question of the night.
I'm not out on him, but for everyone who's watching, you know what I'm going to say. You can never trust any reliever, no matter who it is, and that's just what we see. Even the elite guys are going to get beat from time to time, and Phillips has been the one solid constant in their bullpen, so I don't think there's anything real to worry about there. It's just kind of happens, and like I say, you can't trust relievers.
Yeah, this was the upside down day. Vesia, scoreless inning, 2 strikeouts. Nick Robertson, 3 strikeouts, two perfect innings. Gratterall gives you a scoreless. I mean, obviously, classic Gratterall, 2 base hits in there. Almonte gives you a scoreless inning with 1 hit allowed, and then the one guy you don't trust out of that, the one guy you do trust comes in, gives up 2 hits, the second of which is a walk-off home run. His ERA way up to 2.66 now on the season. Matt, neither of you guys were on here last. I know what Blake's going to say already. The Dodger bullpen, Phillips was the one guy we sort of trusted. My opinion of Evan Phillips doesn't change after tonight. I want to be crystal clear on that. Where are you at on the Dodgers bullpen? Is this an unmitigated disaster and the death knell of this team, or is there sort of hope and optimism there?
It's approaching that level, but there still is hope because, Vesia, I don't think would just drop off completely. I think he could still get back to the pitcher that he was. I think, earlier in the season when we discussed it, I was more confident placing a bet on Yency Almonte, but at this point, last season is sort of looking more and more maybe it was just a flash in the pan, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Brusdar Gratterall, he sort of is who he is. He probably should be more of a 6th, 7th inning guy, which I think tonight he was 7th inning. But he had been, pitching, basically been used as their closer, which was kind of weird. The Dodgers started the season, I felt with Phillips being saved for closer situations, then it sort of changed to then being Gratterall. So I don't know. I mean, there's reason for concern, obviously, but it's not full-blown panic, at least for me. I know Blake, this is why Blake has trust issues with relief pitchers, because Evan Phillips is even giving up walk-off home runs now. But Daniel Hudson, he did start. I think that's kind of what we're getting to now. It's sort of grasping for straws. It's okay. Yeah. Hudson started his rehab assignment at the Arizona Complex League. Maybe in the second half you get something out of Blake Trinan, but if those guys aren't able to really come back and help you piece it together, then it's going to be, you'll see me kind of full-blown panic mode.
Yeah, you won't. You're not going to get my hopes up with Daniel Hudson. I mean, until that guy shows up in LA and is wearing a jersey and gets called out of the bullpen, I'm just going to refuse to believe, because it was all positive. It felt like leading up to the season, and all of a sudden it's like a small setback turns into here we are months later, and he's just now starting. And so we'll see. He's an older guy. You don't expect necessarily things to respond as quickly as he would like. Let me talk offense here real quick. Dodgers in this series, 14 runs in the first 4 innings, 0 runs in the last 5. They were 1 for 17 to close last night's game. Matt, I believe you said they were 0 for 20 to close this game. I mean, it's 2 games. We're not overreacting, but is this something or nothing, Matt?
It's something. And yes, these specific stats that are up on the screen are from just these 2 games, back-to-back walk-off losses. But I know Blake and I have sort of been in the same corner of, kind of questioning the offense, the true depth of the lineup, because it is top heavy, I think. And now that's kind of what we're seeing happen in these late innings, where if, Mookie, Freeman, Muncy, and JD Martinez aren't hitting at, an otherworldly level, you could get situations like this because there's inconsistency with some of the other guys. Other guys aren't necessarily meeting expectations. And so I'm a little concerned. I mean, I don't think the offense is as great as we kind of saw it when they were going on huge tears. And I don't necessarily think they're as bad as this going on droughts in back-to-back games. But right now, they are who they are, which is, I think, an inconsistent group.
Blake, what do you make? I disagree with what Matt just said, but I'll give you a chance to respond here before I share my thoughts.
I think the majority of it is just kind of the inconsistencies of baseball. And sometimes you go on runs and everyone's hitting at the same time, and then all the players will go cold at the same time. But on the other hand, I think it has something to do with the Reds pitching. Their starting rotation is like 22nd in the league in wins above replacement, and their bullpen is 2nd in the league in wins above replacement. So I think it has a lot to do with the Reds starters being bad and then their bullpen being more effective. But at the end of the day, when you're scoring 14 runs in 2 games, you should not be 0-2 in those 2 games. You have to at least win one of those games. So I don't think the offense is the main problem or really anything to be concerned about at this point. So we'll see.
Yeah, I'm generally in the place of they scored 14 runs. That's good. We could talk about sequencing and the fact that they the fact that we would feel different if it was, they were losing 6-3 and scored 3 runs in the 8th inning and then lost 8-6. Like, to me, I think that's a little bit too nitpicky. I just think the Dodgers offense is great as it is. The top 5, I think you could make a case is the best top 5 in all of Major League Baseball. When you're talking about Mookie Betts, Freddie Freeman, Will Smith, JD Martinez, the way he's hitting, and Max Muncy, the way that he has been hitting. And then even beyond that, I think if the Dodgers ever decided to put out their best 9 guys all at once, you stack Miguel Vargas, who had a home run tonight, Jason Hayward, who has been good, David Peralta, who has, is hitting 400 over his last 8 or 9 starts, Chris Taylor, who mashes lefties. Like, you can mix and match guys, James Outman, depending on what you're getting from him, but you can mix and match guys and actually get a great lineup. I don't think anybody, I've said this before, very few teams like their number 8 hitter, let alone their number 9 hitter. I think the Dodgers can oftentimes put a 9 hitter out there that I don't love. Sometimes, for whatever reason, they decide to put an 8 and 9 out there. But one, I'm not going to say it's a positive, but what that is kind of part of the news story here is if you're worried about the offense, there was one little bit of injury news tonight, which was that Miguel Rojas left the game early. We know what he provides defensively. I think if Rojas were out offensively, if you're worried about the offense, it would tick up in Rojas's absence. But Matt, I don't know how much information we have. He left the game with neck tightness per the Dodgers. That was Jack Harris from the LA Times posting that. Do we know anything more about that or have any sense of what that might lead to?
Yeah, I haven't seen anything since the game ended. I think obviously a lot of the focus has been on, Syndergaard and what's kind of happening there. I'm kind of scrolling through here. I'm not seeing any sort of real update. My guess is he's probably out of the lineup tomorrow. I mean, it is also a quick turnaround. They're playing, they're 3 hours ahead, but still playing tonight in Cincinnati and then tomorrow morning, I guess early afternoon out there. Like Jacob says, honestly, I think we might be at the point where Jeff's crazy idea back in the first or second week of April of playing Mookie Betts at shortstop. I think we are closing in on just needing to sort of make that a regular occurrence. And then you figure out, it makes it easier because Peralta and Hayward are producing. And you have Johnny DeLuca up, which, I know Dave Roberts said his role is against left-handed pitching, but, we're we're kind of at the point where maybe let him also see right-handers. Like I don't think there's a book that says no right-handed hitter should ever face right-handed pitching, but maybe there is.
Yeah, hey, Oregon Duck, you could do anything. Blake, you coming around? Mookie Betts at shortstop, solving all the problems.
Yeah, I feel like I've been on this train with you for a while now.
Good. It feels lonely. I
I
forget who's with me, so I apologize.
Yeah, I just think that's the best option they have because their outfield depth is better than their infield depth right now. And before the season, when Gavin Lux got hurt, Andrew Friedman was talking about how they aren't entirely confident with their position player depth right now. So it makes sense to utilize the depth you do have, which seems to be better in the outfield than it is in the infield.
Yeah. All right. Well, this is going to be a shorter show tonight. I do want to talk briefly. I mean, we're now staring at, they do have another game tomorrow, and the bullpen has gotten absolutely taxed 2 in a row, and they've performed. I mean, honestly, tonight, it's kind of, the bullpen blew it, but at the same time, they gave them 5 scoreless innings of 4 hit ball with no walks and, 7 strikeouts prior to Evan Phillips losing his mind. So there is something there, but Kershaw on the mound tomorrow, Matt. I mean, they need at least 6 out of him, right? Like, ideally, you could try and squeeze 7 out of Kershaw. They do have some relievers that for whatever reason haven't pitched in either of these 2 games. So, I mean, just for the sake of, keeping things on the rails, it feels like they're going to need that before they head to Philadelphia for the weekend series. So, I mean, minimum 6 from Kershaw tomorrow. You think you get that, Matt?
I think so. I think he might even be able to get you an out or 2 in the 7th. And, one thing, if you look at kind of the usage, Caleb Fergs, I know he was rough in the first walk-off walks, but he didn't pitch tonight, so he should be available. Victor Gonzalez should be available.
Is that supposed to make us feel better, Ferguson being available? I mean, just out of curiosity, are we supposed to be encouraged by that or discouraged?
I'm simply stating the facts. I will leave it up to everybody to decide on what side of the line they want to fall there. Shelby Miller, I know he gave up the hit last night, but he didn't pitch, so he should be available. I don't know if they'll necessarily make a roster move in the bullpen tomorrow. I think they might lean on hopefully getting at least 6 innings from Kershaw.
Yeah.
And then they'll figure it out. They'll see how the bullpen looks heading into Philadelphia, which, one thing to keep in mind, the Phillies did postpone their game today. I forgot who they're playing because of the air quality out there. And so there's not necessarily a guarantee, I guess, that the series will be played, or even worse, if you're the Dodgers, maybe you end up in a scenario where you're having to play a doubleheader if they have to postpone and move some stuff around. So we'll have to see.
Yeah, I see some people commenting on who might be playing catcher tomorrow. And you just need to be let in on my rule with Moreno over here, which is we're not allowed to talk about the Dodgers backup catcher until his batting average starts with a 1 or his OPS starts with a 3. Those are currently average starts with a 0 and OPS starts with a 2. So, and it's a 2.8, by the way, not even a 2.9. So I'm just, by the way, we can't possibly put that guy out there tomorrow. Let's end with this question, Blake. Somebody asked, do the Dodgers get swept tomorrow? Michael wants to know. He says, yes, the Dodgers get swept. You're not picking against Kershaw, are you, Blake?
I think I'm going to go with a no just because Kershaw's on the mound, but I don't feel confident about it either. So,
okay. Matt?
Yeah, I'm going no, and I'm pretty confident in this one because I think, the Dodgers, if one consistency from them has been scoring early in the game. So if they give him an early lead, I think, Kershaw alone, there's reason to be confident. With an early lead, even more reason. So I think they'll be okay.
The disrespect for starting pitcher Graham Ashcraft is uncalled for, I would say, Blake. So
I like Ashcraft. I think he has good stuff, but he hasn't really been able to put it together yet.
I mean, a 6.64 ERA in 12 starts. He's basically Syndergaard. He's a half run better than Syndergaard. And Blake's thoughts are, I like his stuff. So there you go.
This stuff is good. If he was a Dodger, maybe they could fix him.
Yeah, there you go. Syndergaard for Ashcraft. That's Blake's solution to the problem. All right. I told Blake that if he came on the show with us, he could set the record straight. He's decided this morning that he changes the order he pours his milk and his cereal into the bowl. So Blake, go ahead.
All right. So yesterday in the live show, Jeff and Scott and then Matt commented saying,
it wasn't, how do we know it was me?
Because you're the one with access to the account. But they said I put my milk in before I put the cereal. And I think that is absolutely crazy. And I'm putting the record straight that I do not do that. So they lied. And I'm clearing the record here.
Yeah. So Blake Milk First Williams there, if you can see on the screen, is setting the record straight about what he does first. So there you go. The record has been clearly set straight. I mean, they named himself Blake Milk First Williams. It's unbelievable how you're able to do that. So there you go. So Dodgers lose another tough one, 2 walk-offs in a row, but Clayton Kershaw versus Graham Ashcraft tomorrow. So we're breaking that one up. Yeah.
Hey,
Matt,
if we want to end this, I don't know how this will go, but somebody's asking who puts bananas in their cereal.
Uh-oh, here we go. Matt, that feels like a Matt does.
Yeah, no, if I highly recommend chopped up bananas with Apple Jacks. Very good.
Apple Jacks.
Very good. Trust me.
I mean, I've done chopped up bananas on like granola or something like that, but
That's good too.
I've done it in cereal, but I don't know about Apple Jacks. I think I've done it with like Honey Nut Cheerios and stuff like that, but not
okay.
like
Well,
the sweeter.
Laura says she puts it on, and Laura's a loyal fan of the show. So there you go. Not as crazy one there. So that felt like it was going to be a hot take, but
Yeah,
Carlos says he's going to try it.
All right, there you go. Report back to us.
Report back to us. Just make sure you put the cereal in first, then the milk, and then banana. What do we do? Bananas before the milk, Matt? What's the order here?
No, I do
Cereal,
Apple Jacks, milk, and then dice up the bananas into it.
Wow. Okay. There you go. So Dodgers lose another tough one. We appreciate everybody hopping on here and joining us. If you're listening after the fact to our podcast, thank you so much. You can find us on YouTube at Dodger Blue 1958, subscribing the notification bell. You can find us via podcast. Search for Dodger Heads, Google, Spotify, Apple, wherever you get that. Of course, you can check out Matt, Blake, Scott, all sorts of great writing over at DodgerBlue.com as well. Enjoy the rest of your night. And as always, go Dodgers.